still on nationwide protest. The 15 demands from Nigerians include a call for the President Tinubu administration to, number one, scrap the 1999 constitution and replace it with a people-made constitution for the Federal Republic of Nigeria through a sovereign national conference immediately followed by a national referendum. 2, thus the Senate arm of the Nigerian legislative system keep the House of Representatives and make lawmaking a part-time endeavor. 3, pay Nigerian workers a minimum wage of nothing less than 250,000 naira monthly. And 4, invest heavily in education and give Nigerian students grants, not loans. Aggressively pursue free and compulsory education for children across Nigeria. Let's periscope on number 4. Chuba, what is your take on this? Free education. Invest heavily in education.
First and foremost, I want to say invest heavily in education. To what end? And where is education really free all over the world? I'm not a fan of government. I've never been. Worst still this administration. It's been the worst of ever known. But be that as it may, I want to see attainable demands because of what is possible. And like I said earlier, off the cameras, and I've said in other forums, this protest has a lot of clout in the media space of 1st of August. But ask yourself, who and who is pushing what? To what end is this protest really targeted to achieve? And if we do not have any rallying points, like we're expecting the Labour Congress or the TUC to take up on the protest to ourselves, arrogating to ourselves to say, okay, we are the forefronters. Let people be able to reach out to them so they can equally interface. Because now the government will be talking to faceless persons, and it's going to make it a lot more easier for anybody to hijack. We saw how the NSAS protest ended because to a large extent, nobody wanted to claim ownership of the NSAS. But up until some point, some people now saw to it that it was possibly a cash cow for them, and people not getting involved in it. One thing I would always want to say is that we have a government who does not really understand governance, or who is not even interested in understanding governance. Knowing that governance is not rocket science, it is imperative for all of us to know that whether we agree or we do not agree. For me, we need a government that will be able to say, what is education? Is the education we're talking about, is this what we are doing now? Where people are still studying courses that are completely alien to human life, where people are still studying curriculums that do not have any bearing, and we still have these professors in such courses, and because they are professors, we want to keep them because they are part of the system. It's a party government, we cannot scrap such departments, even in their institutions. We're talking about an holistic turnaround of the educational structure of this country. You look at online, you see Norway kids, 6 years, 8 years, they are already doing things connecting to engineering, things connecting to cyber security, things connecting to AI and IT and all. This is where the world is headed. We should stop pretending and deceiving ourselves. Somebody comes to year 1, is doing further maths, doing the YDX, doing all the physics. That has no correlation with today's reality. So, whether we like it or not, we need to look at a system where, if we're talking about education, is an entire overhauling. Don't psych ourselves with all these professor names. They are names. Many of them. Like I keep asking questions. If we have a country with so much professors of electrical engineering, professors, let's use electrical engineering as a case study, how can you talk about being professor of electrical engineering with this landscape map and what's called landscape of so much numbers, and yet we do not have power? Even as we speak today, with all the heat, sunlight that is flying all around here, solar panels are not even able to, they are not even seeing it as a priority. We cannot access it. We still have talking about PhD and all of the many issues that are bedeviling us. So I think it's an overhauling of our educational system, structural educational system that will work for Nigerians. If it is for a child to start learning auto mechanic from primary 4, know that this auto mechanic what I want to do. Then the child becomes a professional in it. When your vehicle gets into such a mechanic shop, you now know that this warehouse will fix my vehicle. It will come out well. If it is for us to start talking about children, that we have to be talking about the modular refineries, because we have seen to it that out of the shared unity of Nigerian Delta children, what we call profile was better than the Belgium oil field that was imported into this country by Nigerian government. So it's high time we get serious about what we talk about education. It goes beyond the 4 walls of academic classes. So I want to look at a system whereby government will take it serious, break it down into departments or spheres, now know what exactly people should do, Make something that will work for the Nigerian kid, the Nigerian demographic or Nigerian pattern when it comes to education, and let's take it from there. Outside of that, talk if you like, put all the budget into education for people to start reading bigger books. To what end are those bigger books? Or as we speak today, some children are sitting Abia, Umaya in school, where those things have little no correlation with the reality of life today or where we are heading tomorrow. So I think government should look at education from a different viewpoint. We talk about all of that, ability to read and write, to find out where we have a predominant level of illiterates. Yes, segment it. Let's talk about a referendum, looking at the structuring of this country, where governance can begin to be felt and people can be accountable. Systems that will have to be workable, not men that will, if they really work today, tomorrow when they leave the office, some funny persons will just come in and blow off all what they have done, and nobody remembers that somebody was once there. That's my opinion on this.
Right, Gochukwu, what is your take on this point?
Choma, if I want to take on that particular, the fourth item, and I will disagree with my brother first, that the protest has no face. The face of the protest will align with what His Excellency Peter Obi said. The protest is organized by hunger, by hopelessness, by joblessness, by waking up in the morning and not having a direction as an every Nigerian citizen. As a Nigerian worker, not knowing where and when your next salary will be paid. And also the debts that Nigerians owe among themselves, in order to make a living. That is what is the face of the protest. The protest is not about the human person that is organizing it or whosoever, but the protest is the present reality of what Nigerians are going through in the mix of plenty, as we can see using the mirror that we are using in seeing our so-called leaders. And when it comes to education, until we jettison, the Nigeria as a nation jettison the hype of certificates, the bookish nature that and the bookish system that the Britain left for us, and we hold it tenaciously, and go into the American system of education that talks about pragmatism. That is what developed nations, that is what China did, that's what we know Japan for, that is what even South Korea, despite the fact they are using their own for ballistic missiles and all that, but it's still something that is helping their economy. So if we have not left, priding ourselves with doctor, professor, you will see somebody that has been a minister, like what we had in Imo State. After being a minister of education, she also accepted to be a commissioner for education. You have seen some, yes, in Imo State, during the short time leave the administration of Ihedioha, is on record. You hear somebody that become a commissioner going to vie for a local government councillor because we recycle ourselves. And at the end of the day, we don't produce anything. Nigeria is a dumping ground. That is why Obi is crying, let us become a productive nation rather than consumption. If I'm not said, reset our mindset towards that, all these things are calling is babadash. At the end of the day, you're calling for referendum, you're calling for the rejigging of the 1999 constitution when it's favoring some people already. They cannot allow the status quo to shift. Right. Rather, they will like it to remain to be favorable so that we'll be subservient to them. But if government is conscientious and want to grow like other nations, the things we are going to do are not rocket science, John.
All right. Chuba, you mentioned in your first statement, you said that is education free in other parts of the world. Are you of the opinion that there should be no free education, or you're of the opinion that the education should be subsidized?
No, I'm of the opinion of a sincere regulation of educational processes. Right. Because when you talk about the free education, if you look at the list and look at go online to do the interface, people are talking about education to free as to our whatever level. There are nations where those things happen, no doubt about it. But these are the realities, and that's why I'm saying we should talk about attainable demands. Things that when we say, okay, let government look at it from where we are today. Anything is possible in Nigeria because of some people's pocket size. But that notwithstanding, we have to be reasonable going forward in making our demands.
All right.
Choma,
yes.
When you talk about the student loan, I have told you here and I've spoken in different fora that this student loan will become a political tool. You know, somebody wants to win an election, he says, oh, the students that have gotten loan, I have forgiven you. Take it as the part of your own national cake. And they will say, hey, great Nigerian student, great. They were voting for him. Just like what you see politicians over time doing with the labor, electricity, construction of roads. This we have been hearing this all any campaign. Nigeria in the 21st century or in the jet age is still talking about, you know, a road construction, pipe-borne water as a campaign tool and all that. I mean, this is very shameful. But if this education is, if there are grants and there are subsidized educational sector, I think it will be better for it. You see a country like Slovakia, where whatever you're going to study, the government, you know, injects in it. Even when you get an admission now to go and study Chinese language, it's free. You go to France now to say, I'm going to study English. The French government subsidizes it for you. So these are what we are talking about. It's not about loan that will turn to a campaign slogan tomorrow. And at the end of the day, all the monies that have invested in it will go to the tin air. And what is even the database and the process through which to get all those loans? These are just mere political gimmicks in order to score cheap for political points,
right.
In my own view. So, but if the government is very sincere, they will look at investing in education and repositioning it to the present day international realities that will put Nigeria in a position of, you know, competing healthily with other developed nations.
All right.